Welcome to this edition of CNN10 News. I'm Carly Summers. Today's episode features the report of Apollo 11, alien theories, a special interview with Buzz Aldrin, and a hero feature on Neil Armstrong. For more information, you can click here. But first we'll start with the overview of Apollo 11. The Apollo 11 spacecraft was launched from Cape Kennedy at 1:32 p.m. on July 16, 1969. Apollo 11 was the first manned mission to land on the moon. Neil and Buzz Aldrin were the first astronauts to step on the moon. After traveling 240,000 miles in 76 hours, Apollo 11 entered into a lunar orbit on July 19th at 1:46 p.m. The next day, the lunar module Eagle separated from the command module where columns remained. The Eagle was manned by Armstrong and Aldrin. Then 2 hours later, the Eagle began the descent to the moon's surface and landed at 4:17 p.m. on the southwestern edge of the Sea of Tranquility. As soon as they touched down, Armstrong messaged the base and radioed, "The Eagle has landed." At 10:56 p.m., Armstrong stepped off the ladder and planted his foot on the moon's surface. He spoke his famous quote, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." On July 22nd at 12:56 a.m., Apollo began its journey home, splashing down in the Pacific Ocean at 12:50 p.m. on July 24th.
On the moon, it's hard to use the toilet because of gravity, so the first way to urinate was to use little bags called cuffs. These bags were made since the first astronauts urinated in their suits. Another effect of less gravity was that sleeping was a lot harder. Astronauts had to be strapped down to their beds to keep from floating away. Their sleeping quarters are a lot smaller as well due to their suits and supplies. You can't just order and eat pizza on the moon. Food has to be dehydrated and get to the moon and then rehydrated on the moon. Foods like fruits and vegetables can be eaten without rehydration, though. I guess it's not as easy as we think it is, living on the moon. Good evening, Mr. Aldrin.
Good evening.
If you don't mind, just a few questions for you about your experience on the moon. What does it feel like on the moon?
Well, the moon's surface is not like Earth's surface. It lacks life, and all that is there is talcum powder and rocks.
And how long were you and your fellow astronauts there for?
We spent 8 days up on the moon before making our way back home to Earth.
So what was the overall purpose of this mission?
NASA wanted to prove that man could go up to the moon and come back and return to Earth.
When you returned, did you bring anything back with you?
We brought back samples of rocks and powder on the surface of the moon.
And why did you bring these back?
We wanted to study the moon and the depth of samples we had to study.
Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Anytime.
Kennedy's dramatic speech in 1961 started NASA's Apollo program and the race to the moon that succeeded when Neil Armstrong stepped onto the moon and left his boot print on the lunar surface on July 20th, 1969. The moon landing was a tremendous achievement for America. This was a huge boost to the technological pride of America, which was severely wounded by the recent accomplishments of the Soviet Union as part of the space race. The impact of Kennedy's words are still ringing in the ears of people to this very day.
10-second trivia. How many Apollo missions were there? 3, 17, 12, or 22? There were 17 Apollo missions in total.
Neil Armstrong was born in Wacomico, Ohio on August 5, 1930. After serving in the Korean War and finishing college, he joined the organization that would become NASA. He joined the astronaut program in 1962 and was command pilot for his first mission, Gemini 8. In 1966, he was the spacecraft commander for Apollo 11, the first manned lunar mission, and became the first man to walk on the moon. He died in Cincinnati, Ohio in 2012. After returning to the Earth, the astronauts have been put in quarantine for 3 weeks. Then, after reading a part of the book of John, Buzz Aldrin was the first man to start taking communion on the moon. Buzz Aldrin was the first man to pee on the moon. Armstrong and Aldrin spent 21 hours on the moon in total. Then in total, it took 40,000 engineers and scientists to complete the Apollo missions. If you have ever thought about what the moon smells, it smells like wet ashes in a fireplace. Our oxygen makes it scent-free. A felt pen saved the mission by activating a broken circuit breaker, allowing them to leave the moon. Now that's random.
Former U.S. Navy midshipman Bill Casing theorized that the moon mission was faked. He believes that the American space program only wanted us to believe that we had won the space race against the Soviet Union. Casing was a well-educated man, and he believed his theory and followed it through in a very analytical way, McDonald says. When you read his concerns, they seem quite coherent, which is why people believe them. People also say that the photos were bogus too. There were several contentions that the same backdrop appears in different locations so that it feels like a set, that shadows from boulders and astronauts run in different directions, and that too many photographs were taken given the equipment they had at the time. NASA argues that this is not true, but I guess the truth will just be lost in space. I guess you could say the story was a little meatier than the last. We just planned it that way. You could call us spatial. If you liked this episode, put a ring on it, but if you didn't, then I guess you can just comment me, bro. I'm Carly Summers for CNN10.